Holy shit. What's happening?
Dude, what a wild ride. Should we do an intro or what?
Fuck no, dude. Let's dive in. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What up, boyos? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast? Special edition?
Special edition, bitch.
Oh my god, the debates just happened. What do you think of these debates, Cory?
Okay, number one, I don't even think we can classify the clown performances that we just saw as a debate. This is how I classify it, Jake. This will set up the entire conversation we're about to have.
Yes.
If you ever wanted to know what Twitter looked like on live TV, there it was.
Yeah, for real, dude. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then I couldn't even I was trying to text you while this was going on back and forth, but I was so cringing the entire time. Just begging sweet baby Jesus, please make it stop.
You know, I knew it would be good television, but I didn't know it would be this kind of good television. What do you think of the performances? Like, fuck, man, there's so much to unpack here. You know, I don't even know where to start, I guess.
Dude, I don't think there is a starting point when it comes to this.
I was watching it on CNN. Maybe it was CNN or maybe. No. I watched it on NBC, Channel 12, right? Mm-hmm. And when it ended, Lester Holt came on and his co-host, I forget her name, and they both just sat there silently for a minute, and then they both just went, I don't know what I just watched. And then they're like, I don't know, if you go into this without knowing who you want to vote for, right? You're on the fence. I don't know if I'm voting for Biden, I don't know if I'm voting for Trump. Watching this didn't change anything, did it?
No. There is no way that if someone walked away from the first night of these debates saying Trump is my guy or saying Biden is my guy, they don't need to be voting. Because neither one of those candidates gave any performance that was presidential, that was representative of who they really are. It was literally a fuck show. Yeah. I mean, dude, move over, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Here comes Real Presidents of DC. That was ridiculous. Neither one of them did any one of their campaigns justice tonight. There is no way you can walk away looking at that and saying, my guy won. I don't think anybody won. This is literally the Rocky Balboa freeze frame fight. They both swung, they both got hit, and no one knows who won. No one hit the ground. It was a freeze frame.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's, at least from my perspective, watching the entire thing, it's pretty easy to walk, at least from my perspective, it's pretty easy to walk away from that Biden winning that thing. Because Biden couldn't put in a word in edgewise. Trump was acting so unprofessional. And not to mention the fucking, and maybe I should save this for later, but I'm just going to throw it out there now. Did Trump say at the end that if he loses, that there should be a civil war? Because I kind of feel like that's what he said at the end there. He
literally said...
That's pretty much civil unrest. That's what he
literally
wants.
said, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Yep. That's what he said.
That's the one thing that... when he said that, Jake, honestly, a cold chill went through my body. I'm an African American man. A cold chill went through my body when he said, Proud Boys, stand down and stay and stand by.
Yeah.
A chill went through my body. I immediately felt like I wanted to grab all of my children and go into the high country.
Yeah.
Of northern Arizona, because that is Proud Boys. That's what racists call themselves.
Well, that's the group that Gavin McInnes started. Gavin McInnes started this group called the Proud Boys. Gavin McInnes is also a well-known racist. Also, he had to step down because the group became too white supremacist for him. So him saying that, it's not like this is some group like Antifa where it's not a centralized group. No, Proud Boys have a president. They have like a representative that runs the like foundation Proud Boys. And their whole thing is, punch Antifa, punch whoever. Let's start fights. This is what we should do. Punch the libs. That's their whole thing. And Trump just stood by. Like, these are softball questions to Trump.
It wasn't even a question. It was him asking if he would, the moderator, who, by the way, I don't like Twitter attacking the moderator because, Jesus, how can you moderate?
He tried his best. He did.
I think he did his. He could have did a few other things, but damn, there's only so much you can do to control a playground full of kindergartners. But
yeah,
when he asked a simple question of, would you speak down or speak against white supremacy? That's literally the question that he asked him. Would you speak against it? Would you shutter it? Biden clearly did. Trump, Proud Boys, stand down and stand by. Dude, I have a fear for that means, dude, what do you think that means? That means that's like a freaking like a war general giving direction to his troops.
Yep.
Stand down. Stand by. He didn't say, I speak against you. He didn't denounce them. He told them to stand by and to stand down. Meaning, hey, just point your weapons down. Don't put your weapons down. Point your weapons down, but stay on the ready. That was literally him giving marching orders to a group of individuals that are riddled throughout this country. Yep. That are most likely right now polishing up their weapons, stocking up on their arms, stocking up on their bullets when this doesn't go their way. And if you remember, when they were going through the impeachment trial, Jake, I can't remember the guy that ended up going to jail. He said that Trump doesn't speak in direct terms. He speaks in side talk. He says what he wants to say by not saying what he wants to say. And that's literally what he did tonight. Proud Boys, stand down and stand by. That was not him saying, hey, get ready to do something. That was him literally giving a code through international television. I read an article yesterday, Jake, that the other countries are scared of what's happening. The article quoted that the United States is a first world country operating as a third world country right now. And this stuff that Proud Boys, I'm afraid for my children. I'm afraid for my other black brothers and sisters, my Latino brothers and sisters, because Proud Boys don't go after anybody but us.
True. Yeah, it's terrifying, man. That was the one thing at the end there, because he went on to be like, yeah, I don't, because he also Chris Wallace also asked him like, should there be civil unrest if you lose, and he basically was like, no, there should be.
Yeah, literally.
And he was pushing back on it, and Biden rightfully so, in my opinion, was just like, what is this guy? Like, what are you guys seeing this? I tuned over to Fox News after the thing ended just to see what they were saying, and they were just harping in on the fact that they asked Biden towards the beginning of the debate, will you add more Supreme Court justices to balance out the Supreme Court? And Biden basically at that point said, I want to ask the people, I want you guys to write into your senators, I want you guys to vote. Like, if that's what you guys want, then I will do it. If not, then I won't do it, basically is what he was saying. And Fox News is taking this and running with it and basically being like, how can this guy be president when he can't even answer a simple question? And it's like, he did answer the question. He wants the people to decide. He doesn't want to make that decision. He wants the people to decide that decision. But like the Republicans cannot like comprehend that Joe Biden doesn't want to be a dictator, because their man wants to be a dictator and Joe Biden doesn't want to be a dictator. He just wants to be like the president, like the guy who kind of, the whole point of the presidency is so that we don't have a dictator, so we don't have a king. But Trump wants to change that. They asked Trump about the $750 income tax over the past 4 years or whatever, over the past 15 years rather, and he's like, well, that's not true. And then Biden's like, okay, well, show your tax returns. And he's like, I will. And then Biden's like, what, next July?
Dude, Chris Wallace literally drilled down to the nuts and bolts of the question. How much in federal income tax did you pay in 2016, 2017? He drilled all the way down to the meat and potato of the question.
Yep.
And he still never answered it.
Yeah.
He said, I've paid millions in taxes. Okay, I've paid millions in taxes. Every time I go and buy, you paid millions in taxes, Jake. Every time you go and you buy something, every time I go and I buy something, there's a tax on the receipt. I paid millions of dollars in taxes. That's not answering the question that was presented to him. How much did you pay in taxes, in federal taxes, 2016 to 2017? He never answered the question. Never. After this, now Biden, I'm not saying that Biden came out the shining star after this debate. But if you can, I was watching, I unfortunately don't have CNN and I don't have MSNBC. I don't have those cable channels, and I wish that I did in this moment, because I know they're doing a deeper dive on this, and I would flip back like you were doing. I would flip back between CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. I would flip back and forth just to kind of see what everybody was saying. But unfortunately in this, I don't have those resources. But I stayed with ABC 15, and they had a reporter outside of the Republican office here in Arizona, in Phoenix, in downtown Phoenix. And the reporter reported that there were laughs, there were cheers, that everybody thought that Trump did an excellent job and his performance was exemplary. And they were laughing and they were joking at the things that he was saying to Biden and how he was reacting to Biden. And I'm thinking to myself, how can you consciously and morally sit back and say that that's behavior is okay? If my child talked to me like that, whether he was upset with me or not, he'd know what's under my fingernails. I would put my hand so far down his throat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even allow my child to talk to me like that. So you've got these people. Now, it was a very small group of people that were down at the live, viewing, the live viewing party, where the Democrat office was having, a virtual viewing party. And these people were celebrating this performance. How is that even?
I have no idea. I was thinking this on, because I went to my sister's house to watch this, because I actually don't have cable either. So that's the only way I watched it, was at my sister's. And when I say I was watching NBC, I wasn't watching like MSNBC. I was watching fucking Channel 12, like NBC.
Oh, okay, yeah. Our local NBC affiliate here.
And these guys were like, I don't even know what to say. Like, this is bonkers. Like, I don't even know what that was. Literally the whole time was like just Biden trying to talk, Trump cutting him off, and then Trump not having any time left because he used it all up to cut off Biden. And then moving on. That was the whole fucking debate. Pretty much until like the last like 30 minutes maybe, where they were kind of finally starting to talk. What Biden? But what I was thinking about this on my way home, Biden needs to double down on the fact that he has a stutter. This man needs to like address more so that, because he does.
Yeah, he has a natural stutter. He's always had a natural stutter. And people take that stutter as him fumbling over his words. No, he has a stutter. He has a speech impediment.
He has a speech impediment. And he's talked about it before, but I don't think enough people know this about Biden, that this man has a speech impediment. And it's not like that this man doesn't know what he's talking about and that he's dumb. He just literally has a speech impediment. He, even during the DNC, and if any of the Republicans had, if they took 2 seconds to do any research, they would know this, that Biden has a speech impediment. And he even brought like this kid on who had a speech impediment, and they both like talked about growing up with speech impediments and stuff. And
and that kid was actually in one of Biden's campaign commercials that I've seen.
And like when you find that out about Joe Biden, I feel like it makes Joe Biden much more endearing. And it also explains like, of course, Trump can fucking railroad this man because Biden has a fucking speech impediment. So, like, it's hard for him to, like, get a word in edgewise when Trump is just cutting him off constantly.
Here's the thing, Jake. You know me that I have completed studies in school surrounding human behavior. And there was, my mind went back to, as you were speaking, my mind went back to a case study that I looked at about speech tactics. And there is a tactic where someone that's very, very insecure, what they do is that they just blah, 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 blah. They just talk. They talk over because in their mind, it's a natural instinct of protection. So what they do is that when they are so insecure with themselves, their natural defense is to talk over. Therefore, another person cannot spotlight their insecurities. So when you see that in people that don't allow other people to have equal say, that's a sign of an insecure person. That's the straight up mechanism that naturally comes to place where you talk over them. You undertalk them, you comment while they're talking, and you don't allow them to completely express themselves because of your insecurity. It's a scientific mental issue that is documented in health journals all over the world. And I believe that was a display of what we saw tonight. Every time he talked, he didn't even Trump didn't just talk over Biden. He peppered in the middle of what Biden was saying. If he didn't pepper with words, he peppered with expressions, drawing the eye back to him. That's a human mental condition of someone that points to someone that is insecure. If I was sitting in a counseling session with a couple and I asked the husband a question and the wife kept jumping in and never allowing him to have a word edgewise, I would think that I would jot that down as some insecurities within the relationship. And I believe that that's what was on display tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because there was one point where it was Biden's turn to talk, and Trump asked him a question, and Biden was trying to respond to it. And Trump kept cutting him off. And then at one point, Biden just stopped talking. He's like, okay, I'm just done talking. Then Trump stopped talking at the same time. And then Biden started talking again, and Trump started fucking cutting him off again. And like, that was Trump's whole tactic this whole time was, let's just cut off Biden. I don't know how anyone can watch that and think that Trump was doing a good job. I think Biden did as good as he could have. he fumbled in a few spots, but it's an hour and a half. Like, it's kind of expected that you're going to fumble a few times. I don't know how anyone can watch that and think Biden was the bad guy in that fucking thing. Like, I mean, fucking Trump kept pushing the new Green Deal on him, and Biden kept saying, that's not my thing. That is not my thing. I have my own thing. It's the Biden deal, and you're not listening to me. And
what I will say is that I understand Biden's policies a little better. I don't think Trump has any policies. I don't know. If he does, I don't know. But what I will say, a mark against Biden that I will give him, is that I didn't like the fact that when Biden was in mid speech and Trump was cutting him off and trying to talk over him, Biden was responding to some of the things that Trump was saying and then trying to get back to his point. I think what I would have liked to see Biden do is I would have liked to see Biden just push forward, kind of like what we do in radio. When one of our co-hosts are going off on some little rant or some little tangent or whatever like that, or laughing or whatever, we call it forging through in radio. You push through, you stay on your topic, because what's going to happen is that the human ear, they're going to give you that attention and they're going to hear what you're saying. But when he kept pausing and reacting to Trump and saying that's not true, and then trying to get back to his point, I gave that a mark against Biden. I wish he would have stayed on task when it came to those types of situations.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard not to, though, and that was part of Trump's ploy as well. It's so hard not to
throw him off his game. And when that kept happening, I just kept finding myself, when I wasn't in the fetal position watching this thing, I kept saying to myself, Biden, stay focused. Stay focused, bro. Stay focused. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you. And he kept falling into it. Now, when Biden was given a clear path to speak, he spoke and he did well. But when Trump was in there peppering him and speaking over him, Biden kept stopping to respond. Either that's a lie or that's not true, or he would get thrown off and pushed into another topic that Trump had, that Trump was trying to cover up. And that was Trump's tactic. And unfortunately, that's a one in the win column for the Trump against Biden, because Biden fell into it. And I just kept finding myself saying, Biden, don't fall for it, bro. Don't fall for it, man. Don't fall for it. He wants to throw you off your game, and that's what he's going to do because of his insecurity.
It's so hard not to, though, because I mean, at one point, Trump was like, "You didn't even go to that school, and don't talk to me about smart because
you were last in your class.
You're last in your class. You're not smart." And it's so hard not to respond to that, because it's so easy to just be like, that's not true. Like, I wasn't last in my class. I'm a fucking senator. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so like, it's so hard not to. But like, Trump was doing the same thing, but Biden wasn't even peppering him. Trump was just doing that while Biden was doing his 2 minutes, where Trump would just be like, not true, false, sad. Like,
and who was he looking at? Who was off camera that Trump kept looking at? Was he? I mean, he was almost like, at times, it seemed like Trump was like a comedian that was on stage looking for a reaction out of the crowd, because comedians do that. Comedians get their energy, can draw their energy from crowds. So who the fuck was Trump looking for to give him approval or a nod of the head or a giggle at whatever he just said? Did you notice how he kept looking off camera?
Yeah, maybe he was looking at Melania. That's it's interesting. Because they asked Trump about masks, and dude, Trump lied throughout this whole fucking thing. It's mind-boggling. I hope people like go and look up what was true and wasn't true.
They won't. His deep root supporters won't. His deep root supporters, everything that comes out of his mouth is word of God. He won't. They won't fact check him, and they won't read the facts to the people that are fact checking him. ABC 15 tweeted afterwards, fact checking the debates 2020. And I went and looked at the comments, and there was about 700 people that said, good luck with that.
Yeah. It sucks, because like, Trump was blatantly lying throughout the whole thing. I mean, some of them were really easy lies, like the fact that he said that all of his conventions and stuff were outside. That is totally not true. He fucking came here just a few months ago.
Yep. He was here. He was here when he went down to Yuma. He was outside, but when he had his rally in Phoenix a month ago, it was in the big church on the hill, on the inside. Because remember, when the big church announced that they put up on their Instagram that they have COVID killing air filters.
Yeah.
In their church, that was inside. It was not outside. And the one that he did have outside that was down in Yuma was only attended by a small percentage of people versus the Dream Center. I believe that church seats 18,000. And the only defense that Trump had to him being able to do in-person rallies is the fact that Biden couldn't draw a crowd. Is this a fucking concert promotion? You can't draw a crowd. That's why you don't have rallies in person.
Yeah, which is absolutely bullshit because it's the same reason he wants mail-in votes to be credited as false because Democrats don't want to go anywhere because they take COVID seriously. And so, Biden wouldn't get a big crowd right now because of COVID. But, if COVID wasn't a thing, I'd fucking be there. He's full of shit.
Dude, mail-in ballots is what elected his ass in 2016. Those were mail-in ballots.
Well, and fucking Biden roasted him super hard when he was like, that's how you voted last time.
That's how our military votes all the time. Our military votes all the time. They vote through mail-in ballot because they're over in Fallujah or Afghanistan.
Yeah. So what's different this time? And
he's setting it up, dude. He is totally setting it up for when he inevitably fails. He has set the groundwork. He has set the Proud Boys in motion.
Yep.
To revolt if this election doesn't go his way. He's building. This is what he has done his entire administration. That's why he has fired so many people, because he is building up his wall. That's another thing that insecure and pathological liars do. This is a human condition where they surround themselves with people that will not question anything they do, but will make them will give them a sense of comfort, will give them a sense of protection. And this is what the entire administration has been over the last 3.5 years. Him building up a system of people around him, from the FBI to now the Supreme Court. That's all he's been doing. Because if he can shield himself, he can always. And then if a shot comes at him, he can easily move one of those people, an FBI director, in the way. He can move the Supreme Court in the way of the bullet, and he'll point the finger at the Supreme Court. How many people have been on Capitol Hill that have contested the fact that that's exactly what they did? They took the fall for him. This is what he has done his entire administration. He's made himself untouchable by building up his own system. And if that doesn't scream dictatorship, I don't know what does.
Yeah, and the irony, oh my God, the irony of him bringing up that Hillary Clinton was planning a coup. It's like, what are you talking about?
First off, who taught him the word coup?
True. I think he's thinking of coupe.
Yeah, a two-door car, a coupe.
The irony, though, just of him bringing up that Hillary was planning a coup. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Hillary lost, and she didn't make a big stink of it. She's like, I lost. Okay, that's it. I lost. Yeah. And then the irony of him bringing up fucking H1N1, and he's like, you handled it poorly. And Biden's just like, there was 14,000 deaths. You are in power, and 205,000 people have died and counting. What are you talking about? And then, oh my God. And then also, I don't know if you noticed this, everyone on Trump's side, all of his kids, his family and stuff, the only person wearing a mask was his wife, Melania. She was the only one wearing a mask.
Jesus. And did you notice at the end when the wives came up on stage, Melania came up first. Yep. And I think she probably asked Chris Wallace if she could go up or whatever. And then she walks over to Trump. And then Dr. Jill gets up. And when Melania walks over to Trump, she basically just stands by him. And then you see their shoulders kind of move like they were having another one of those awkward hand holding things. And then when Dr. Jill got up on the stage, the first thing she did was she wrapped her arms around her husband and kissed him. And I read her lips. She said, "Good job."
Oh, yeah. I mean,
did you see the different dynamics between the wives when they came up on stage? Melania looked like she was like, there was a sniper in the back of the room that had a red dot on her back saying, if you don't go up there, we're going to take you out. And Jill looked like, she was going up there to congratulate. It was the same thing that happened when Michelle Obama went up after the presidential debates when Barack was debating McCain. The same thing. And Cindy McCain did the exact same thing. Michelle and Cindy both went up there, wrapped their arms around their man, gave him a kiss, and then stood there and held their hands and waved to the crowd.
Yeah. It was so wild, dude.
This was worse than dude, I don't even think there's a word to explain the what the fuck we just saw.
You know what my favorite exchange was? My favorite exchange was Trump cut off Biden and said that you're like worthless or whatever. And then Biden said, "You're the worst president ever. Come on." And then Trump said, "Come on, dude."
I mean, these are 75,000-year-old men up there acting like, dude, we have never in the history of presidential debates ever had anything like this, man. Never have we ever had anything like. We've had some contentious presidential debates, but never anything like this. I mean, you can't even put it in words. Like you said, when they cut back to our local NBC affiliate here, they just sat there in shock and awe. And I think that there was a small sect of the Republican Party that are Trumpers that were cheering and jeering for what they saw. There's a small sect of the Democratic Party that's all the way far to the left that was probably cheering and jeering what they saw. But then, man, the majority of people, I believe, walked away from this thing literally looking at themselves saying, what the fuck was that?
I will say, I don't know, man. I think personally, for me, this proved to me that Biden's still there. The dude can still talk.
Oh yeah, he's still with it.
The man still is there. I mean, they're gonna skew all of his little, stutters and stuff as him losing his mind. But Biden's always done that. To me, this proved that Biden can still talk. He can still debate. He's still there. I have a feeling he'll probably step down after 4 years, but I am also okay with that. I'm totally okay with him just doing a 4-year term. We just need Trump out of there, man.
We do, and we need him out, and we need a peaceful transfer of power. We don't need uprising in the streets. Dude, never in the history of a presidential election has there been any threat or fear of uprising in the streets because of the outcome of an election, man.
The fact that Chris Wallace even had to ask that question is appalling. Yeah. And the fact that it wasn't a simple answer.
And who's going to come in and save us? Who's going to come in and save us? No other country is as powerful as we are. China's not going to come in and quench our civil unrest. The UK is not going to come in and quench our civil. We always run to their borders to help them out. They're not going to come in and help quench our civil unrest. They didn't do it with the last civil war. They're not going to do it with this one. They're not going to send troops in to help us. It's literally going to be until someone speaks up and ends the thing. while the
Yep.
guy that starts the whole thing is just sitting there lapping it up. Dude,
Yep.
no one's gonna save us. Our country is gonna fucking burn because of this one guy.
I fucking
And
hope
people
not,
can't
man.
see that.
I hope not. I hope that, and like you said, this is the first time we've seen this. I hope it's the last time, and I hope that it's the last time not because Trump wins and this country doesn't exist anymore, but I hope it's the last time because we can fucking look at the history and be like, that was bad.
This was horrible, man. I mean, what would you tell your grandchildren? What would you tell your children? What would what would you tell your future children?
Dude, I was watching this and my niece and nephew were there. My niece started crying and she's 3 years old. She doesn't know what's going on. She just saw two grandpas yelling at each other, and she just started crying because she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
and that's our presidential debates.
Yeah, and I mean, Twitter was, of course, in a absolute uproar. There was and even like Bill Lawrence, who is a genius show producer. He was behind Sex and the City. He was behind Scrubs, an absolute genius in comedy writing. And he tweeted out, "I can't even make a joke about this."
Yeah, it's hard.
You can't even joke about it. It's hard. There's nothing really to laugh at. This is our country. This is where we're at right now. And it sucks that we have never been at this level of division. We have never been at this level of it's our candidate or no one. Never has it ever been this one. When John McCain and Barack Obama were debating and John McCain lost, John McCain called. I mean, I think it's tradition for the winning president to call the loser and congratulate them. Or what is the word that they use? Concede.
Yeah.
You're supposed to call the other person and concede. I think every other election that's happened on, I doubt it very seriously if it's going to happen on this one. And then, dude, if he does get reelected, who's to say that in the next 4.5 years, he's not going to try some way to extend his term even longer? I don't know what people have to see because he has given us he has shown the bottom of the barrel. What else do people have to see in order to completely 100% write this man off? What more does he have to do? Literally stand up on the stage, put a gun in his hand, and shoot a black person in the side of the head? Is that the only thing that's going to turn people around from him? What else does he have to do?
I think at this point, his supporters would love that.
They'd cheer for that too.
Yeah.
What else does he have to do to... I mean, dude, when I get my ballot, it's going to be so hard not to go and just vote for anyone that's not currently in office. I mean, I'm just like at the point where in my mind, it's like, blow all them motherfuckers out. Blow them all out. Yeah. Let's get some fresh blood in there. Let's get some youthfulness back in the DC. Let's flush out all that old money. Let's flush that shit out of there. I'm literally at that point where if they are currently in office, whether they have done a good job or not, get them out. Start over. Boom. Out. Because this is just ridiculous. I don't know what more the Republican Party needs to see or of this man to not stand up and denounce him. I don't know what more they need to see. It can't be fear. It's just... I don't know what it is. I'm a talk show host and I'm lost for fucking words right now. What more does this dude have to do to prove to you guys or to open up your eyes to say this guy is dangerous? And don't forget about the fact that the clip that's floating around on social media right now is Hillary Clinton calling out the fact that this motherfucker didn't pay no taxes in 2016 and 2017. She warned us, y'all. She tried to warn us, and I'm not even a Clinton supporter, and she tried to warn us. What more does this guy have to do?
True. I couldn't say it any better than that, man. It's
Fuck.
I don't know how you could watch this and think that I don't know. I have a strong suspicion that people may have been swayed to Biden on this one, because I mean, I don't know, man. I hope so. Like, I don't know how you watch that and not think like that guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
Like,
if nothing else, how do you look at that and not say that that dude is a jerk? How can you not look at that? Take the fact that
Also,
it's a presidential election. Take that all off the plate. Humanistically, that's a jerk.
To what you were saying about getting new blood in here, I think we should normalize getting, like AOC is a good example, right? She's in her, early 30s or whatever, and she's in the Senate. I think we should normalize that. And then when people get to fucking Biden and Trump's age, they can fucking step down. We should normalize younger politicians, goddammit.
Yeah. I think Nancy Pelosi needs to go.
Yeah, get that.
There's a whole lot of Bill Barr needs to go. There's a whole lot of old money in there.
Hell,
they need
Ruth
to
Bader
go.
Ginsburg shouldn't have been in there that long. I mean,
she should not. She should have been given a golden ticket to drift off into Supreme Court land and live the rest of her days out in her beautiful Northampton estate.
That treasure of a person should have gotten some time to herself to just enjoy and live in peace. And she didn't get that, and that's really kind of depressing.
It is. And there should be no lifetime appointments in any political office. None.
No. But the way they get around that is they don't consider the Supreme Court political because they're judges and they're all about justice.
Not when a political figure appoints the justices.
I know. And dude, Trump or Biden's response to Trump saying, "Are you for law and order?" Was beautiful. He said, "Yeah, I'm for law and order and justice
for everyone."
For everyone. That was perfectly said, perfectly done. Trump tried to double down. I swear Trump has these fucking talking points because he thought Bernie was going to win. And Bernie didn't win. And so Trump is still trying to use these fucking like socialist agenda things. And Biden's like, "That's not me, dog. Like I'm not socialist, man. Like I'm almost Republican myself. Like I don't know what you're talking about." From day one, Biden has been against defunding the police. Since day one, he's been against that. So you can't even use that against him, but Trump still tries to. And like, that's the thing. It's like the Trump supporters just buy into that shit and just think it's true and just think it's fact, and it's not.
I don't get that. That's literally like me going up to someone and now look, my kid leans, I'm Superman to him. Okay. If I walked up to him and I told him that the sky was purple when he was 6 or 7 years old, he probably believed that. Okay. Pop said that the sky is purple. The sky is fucking purple because I love my pops and I believe what he says and he'll never bring me any harm. That's when he would be 6 or 7. If I walked up to my 20-year-old kid now and said, "Hey, the sky is purple," he'd look outside and say, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So how much more can this dude say until somebody says, where did these people come from? Where did the Trump supporters come from? The Republican Party is not like this. I have many Republican friends. They are not like this. How are they putting their support behind this guy?
Yeah, it's this whole like cultist mentality, dude.
Where did these people come from?
It's insane. People's true colors are just starting to show right now.
I guess so. And it's not beneficial. Their true colors are unfortunately against my color. I have never been more afraid of being an African American in this country than I am right now. Because who's to say who my neighbor is? Who's to say who the people are across the street are? Are the people across the street that are normally waving to me when I go pick up my mail? Are they undercover Proud Boys? And when this doesn't go their way, they're going to come straight for my property? They're going to come straight for my house? Because they're going to deem it as my fault? Are they gonna do what about my Hispanic friends?
Yeah. Dude, if
You know what I mean, dude?
If you notice when Chris Wallace asked the question about race and systemic racism, Trump quickly diverted that, yes, I am the best for the African American community, and then quickly switched over, but we need to do something about these riots. And it's like, that's not the question, and why are you taking it there? And it's just, it's so obvious. And dude, Biden even was like, you're racist.
Yeah, he called him right out. Called him a racist. You told him to shut up. He's like, how can I with this guy? And you know what? I don't think that was presidential, but damn it, fuck, somebody needed to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at the very beginning when Biden was like, this is so unpresidential and this is wrong, that's when Biden was just like, fuck it, I'm saying whatever I want. It didn't work for Hillary, her trying to stand back, so I'm just gonna say it. Like, you're unpresidential. You're a fucktwit. Like, I wish he would have just said that. I wish he just would have been like, you're a fucktwit.
Dude, if you would have called him a fucktwit, dude, I would have ripped my pants off and treated myself like an amusement park.
One of the moments that made me laugh the most was towards the beginning, when Trump mentioned, oh yeah, I'm not against masks. I've got a mask right here. And then he's like, but you see Biden, and he wears masks all the time. He's like 200,000 feet away, and he's still wearing his big mask, and it like covers his whole face. And Biden's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. What the hell
like
was
started
that?
Like, yeah, I wear a mask. I'm fucking 90 years old. I'm gonna fucking die if I don't wear this thing. And then Biden fucking called him out and was like, yeah. And then a reporter came up to you and you said, stand away from me. Have you been tested? Meaning Trump doesn't care about you. He cares about himself and his millionaire buddies.
Now, let me ask you a question. How did you feel, Jake, about Biden talking to camera, given the perception that he was talking to the American people? What was your takeaway with Biden's tactic on doing that?
I thought it was pretty well executed the few times he did it, especially the time when he was like, when they were asking him about the Supreme Court, and he looked at the camera and he said, I want to know what you guys think. Like, this is what I want you guys, I want you guys to give me the info. Like, this is your country, not mine. You know, this is our country.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the fact that he was looking at the camera. I'm sure some people would perceive it as cheesy and you know, Biden definitely threw out some fucking grandpa jokes in there and stuff, but like, but you know, he is a grandpa.
When he was speaking, yeah, he's a grandpa. He gets away with it. When he was speaking to, Biden said something that was really poignant when he spoke to camera, and he said, you know, how do you feel sitting at a table looking at a chair that is now empty, that used to be occupied by a loved one that has died from COVID? I was like, whoo, that was a huge arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very poignant because there are at least 200,000 families right now, unless other than that guy that's in Phoenix here that pretty much lost his entire family to COVID. I mean,
yeah. Well, and then Trump tried to say that his events didn't like raise the COVID numbers, which is totally inaccurate, because didn't like one of his like buddies, who was it? Someone like went to one of his things and fucking died.
Yeah, there were actually
Herman Cain, right?
Yeah, Herman Cain.
Herman
and I
Cain
saw that
went
on
to it
Twitter.
and did like a coughing thing as a joke, and then fucking died of COVID.
And someone on Twitter was very mean and tweeted out, Herman Cain is not available for comment.
Yeah, but like, that's so true.
Dude, yeah, so yeah, people were dying at his
he did his rally in Tulsa, and the numbers in Tulsa went up 2 weeks later.
Skyrocketed. Same thing here in Arizona. Same thing in Phoenix. The numbers in certain zip codes jumped. They jumped, and even when his son came out and did a Trump Latinos for Trump rally out in Chandler, we saw an uptick in numbers in the Latino community. And I'm like, dude, if you are part of the Latino community and you're part of the African American community, your ass don't need to be going nowhere right now, because this shit is killing y'all. It's killing us.
Well, and that was pretty poignant with Biden as well, where he's like, under Trump, 1 in 1,000 African Americans are dying of COVID. And then if the numbers keep going the way they're going, 1 in 500 will die of COVID. Like
1 in 500.
The more I think about this debate, the more I'm like, Biden actually said things and Trump was just babbling bullshit.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I agree with you 100%. It was Biden had more substance. I walked away with Biden having more substance than Trump at the end of this. I mean, it was literally just, God damn it, dude.
I want to bring up one more thing.
Please.
Trump just kept bringing up Biden's son.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's like, dude,
he's dead.
Back down, man. Well, he wasn't bringing up the dead one. He was.
When he slammed him for being dishonorably discharged from the military and stuff like that.
My son had a drug addiction, and that was one of the moments where he looked at the camera, and it was great. He's like, my son had a drug addiction, just like many of our fellow Americans have had troubles with drug addictions. Like, hey, I'm relatable. Like, my son had a drug addiction. Like, this happens to people.
He owned it. He owned it.
He absolutely owned it, and that was the best move he could have done. And then Biden brought up Bo and was like, my son fought and died for this country. And then Trump said, oh, I don't know about Bo. I just know about Hunter.
And what? Don't forget, Jake, the forests are on fire because there's dead trees laying around on the forest floor.
Just toss a cigarette and it lights it
you
on
toss
fire.
You toss a cigarette and the whole country burns. Last time I checked, I don't know about you, but trees fall in the forest. The question has always been out there, do they make a noise if there's no one around to hear it? But that's not the point. Trees fall in the forest, they decay, they breed more trees. There's animals that live and ecosystems are developed in these fallen trees. There's ecosystems in the trees that are on the ground. There are ecosystems in the trees that are standing hundreds of feet in the air.
But these trees are dry. They're bone dry.
Yeah. But you can't blame a dirty forest for a forest fire. He completely avoided answering the scientific question, the question regarding the science behind global warming. He wasn't asking him if he believed in global warming. He was asking him if he understood the science behind global warming. And it was the same thing that he did with COVID. He didn't listen to those scientific experts. He isn't listening to the scientific experts about global warming. He's not listening to it. Dead trees, that's the forest. That's what it's supposed to be. That's the circle of life when it comes to vegetation. New vegetation grows out of decaying dead. They turn into mulch.
Yep.
Whether when they're dry or when they're not dry. Now we know forest fires are going to start when, nature lightning strikes and stuff like that. But you can't skirt and I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not a global warming advocate or nothing of that. But the sheer science that something has changed is pure evident. And I meant to say this on our last show. I think I understand why we had a monsoon season this year. And I think it's because of the fact that we shut down. We stopped driving for a month and a half. We stopped polluting the air. And I think that even though it was beautiful at the time, I think that had an effect on the climate. We did such a drastic halt of our abuse that we actually spun the environment into a tailspin, and the environment doesn't know what the hell to happen.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but also,
but all that is rooted in the fact that you have to at least recognize the science behind global warming, and he refused to do that tonight. He blamed it on a natural occurrence of a tree decaying in the forest.
But Phoenix is also it's getting dangerously close to reaching the record of the most over 100 days, over 100 degree days in history. So that's pretty fun.
It is.
We're 12 days away from that, and 7 of our days next week are supposed to be over 100. So we're gonna hit that record. Which is,
and SRP and APS are cleaning up. They're cleaning up right now.
We're number one. We're number one, America. So I want to end with this. I want to end with this. I want to ask, what do you think the next debate is going to look like? And what would you like the next debate to look like? Who do you want to host it? How would you like the format to be? What do you think?
I would like the next debate to be color bars. It's after this, I don't know how you come back from this. It was Chris Christie said this afterwards, where he said Trump was too hot, and Biden came across, they basically, Chris Christie basically saying that both candidates, didn't come out looking. No one came out looking in a shining light, and I somewhat agree with him on that, because I think that there are things that Biden could have done a little differently, and there sure as hell could be a lot of things that Rump could have been. What I would like to see, and I'm going to repeat this because I heard another ABC 15 talking heads say this, is that maybe the national committee for these debates, maybe they need to enact a rule that when you're not answering a question, your microphone is muted. Even in my own radio studio, I have a standing rule that the producers don't mute my mic for anything. But I think that we may need that in this type of election. We may need that in these debates. We may need a producer that when the moderator is asking a question, both podium mics are off. When the moderator is done, or maybe like they do in the House and in the Senate, each candidate has the ability to mute their mics. I don't know, some other type of control mechanism, but I believe that this was so far out there. I think that the next one that we're going to get next week is going to be a lot tamer, and we're going to get a little bit more policy talk, because I believe both of these guys are going to go back and they're going to look at this and they're going to say, damn, I acted a fool. Well, at least one guy will say, I could have did a little better. But I think there has to be a technological control put into place, because if Trump is going to carry himself like this, which is literally what we've seen him do on the campaign trail, every clip, every highlight, every live broadcast of his campaign, that's what he's like. The hand is going up, the pointer finger is going to the thumb, the hand is jarring out to the side of him. He makes the same hand gestures over and over. He's not going to stop talking because he's insecure. I think we're going to have to put another power in place to mute his effing podium when it's not his turn to talk. And then when it is his turn to talk, equally mute Biden. I think that's the only way that we're going to be able to get anything possibly accomplished. And I know it'll never happen. I would like to see the time clock.
Yeah.
I would like to see the clock. We see the clock when people are testifying on Capitol Hill. Why can't we see the clock when they're asking, the presidential debate question? So, after this, dude, my first reaction is that I don't want to see another debate. I don't think my heart can take this.
Yeah.
But I know that there is going to be another one. And the moderator is going to have to be someone that is, I mean, dude, how can you take control of something that is completely out of control? There's no human approach to be able to corral what happened. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything that Chris Wallace could have done. I don't think there's anything. I mean, literally, you're trying to put a tornado in a mason jar when dealing with this guy. So, dude, I don't know. I would like to see a debate of professionalism, decorum, manners, and policy. But there's no way in hell we're going to get that. There's just no way.
That's
what I would like to see. What would you like to see?
Here's what I want to see. I want the second debate to be done over Zoom. And literally the 2 minutes you get unmuted and you can talk for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is up, you're muted, and then the other person is up. And, maybe the host should be, I don't know, maybe Anderson Cooper, maybe Lester Holt. Since we got a guy from Fox, a pretty center guy on Fox, let's get one of those center guys from like NBC or CNN or whatever on there. The third one, what I'd like to see, and this has been thrown around, and I think this one may actually give the edge to Trump, but I am actually just so curious to see how it would turn out. A fucking 5-hour podcast with Joe Rogan. I'd love to see that. I would no rules. It's just a Joe Rogan podcast and they just go on there for 5 hours and they just fucking shoot the shit for 5 hours. Joe Rogan's like, "Hey, have you done DMT? Do you want to try DMT?" Like, I would love to see that shit. That'd be fucking bonkers. I don't think that'll happen. What I think is going to happen is probably, it's going to be Anderson Cooper on the next one, and then it'll probably be the same shit. It's going to be the same shit 2 more times.
Dude, what about if we brought in different moderators? What if we brought in, I don't know, Judge Joe Mathis?
Yeah.
Or maybe Judge Judy.
Yeah.
Let's
dude,
bring
honestly,
one of them in.
Like, what was his name? Chris
Wallace.
Chris Wallace. He looks like a Muppet, first of all. Second of all, it really seemed like he was not very well prepared. I'm
gonna have to disagree with you. Not to cut you off, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you. And the reason why is because it was the opposite end of the spectrum. He was over prepared. He was over scripted. He was over blocked out. He was too prepared where he had no flexibility, and the first bend that came in his over preparedness shattered his entire preparation.
You might be right, because I was kind of frustrated because at the beginning of the thing they said Chris Wallace or they said the moderator will not be held responsible for fact checking. But he kept fact checking, and it's like, no, don't do that. Let them respond, let them deal with it. This is their battle, you don't need to get involved with this. So that kind of frustrated me. He kept like having a hard time, at least until the end, where he basically had to fucking yell at them like little kids.
Yeah, he had to raise his voice. And then remind them that your campaigns agreed to these terms. He had to remind them your campaign agreed to do it like this.
Yep. And he had to fucking yell at them. And at that point, it kind of came together a little bit better. But at the beginning, he was like fact checking Biden. He was fact checking Trump. And it's like, just don't fact check, dude. Just ask the questions. Let them answer. If they lie, they lie. And if Biden is smart enough to catch the lie, he can call him out on the lie,
I think I was looking at body language for what I could see from the camera angles because they cut him off at the podium and stuff like that. And I noticed one thing. Biden often was making notes and writing things down, meaning that he was contemplating and thinking over his response. Trump didn't write down one thing. I don't even think he had a pen or a tablet. But what Trump did do is that Trump stared and studied Biden's physical composition. He looked at him in the eye. He looked at him up and down like he was looking to see what he could say to rattle him. When Biden turned and made eye contact with Trump or looked at Trump, it seemed calculated and it seemed poised, where he was literally waiting for him to end his statement so he could begin. I noticed that throughout the entire debates tonight, where it was those two different body languages that was going on. Trump seemed to have more of an attack posture. Biden seemed to have more of a calculated maneuver disposition in his body language tonight.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that as well. I noticed Trump eyeing Biden, and Biden would look down, and then as soon as Trump would look away, Biden would look up and be like, okay, fuck this.
Biden was writing. Biden was taking notes and writing things down. I don't think Trump had a pen. I don't remember him seeing him
Trump
writing
has
anything
his,
down.
What Trump, I will give this to Trump. Trump is very good at pivoting and getting to his talking points, because Trump knows 10 talking points. Literally, he knows 10 talking points, and he can just take anything that someone brings up and just pivot it into that talking point. And like,
is it a pivot or is it a distraction?
Well, yeah, a pivot is a distraction, I guess. I loved how Trump kept being like, have the police endorsed you? And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, who cares? Like,
well, then on Twitter, the sheriff of Portland, I believe, or Oregon, tweeted out, I have never once endorsed Donald Trump.
So that was just a blatant lie.
Just a straight up, bold face fucking lie.
Jesus.
And then even when they talked about the riots that were going on in Seattle and Portland and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And Trump tried to say, you know, if this was Biden's leadership, those cities would have burned down and those people would be, yeah. And Biden's response was poignant and elegant, where he said, if your people would have got out of the way, the city would have been able to regain control. But your people went in and just stirred it up and made it worse than it was.
Yep.
If they would,
Biden also brought up the church thing. And
oh God, yes! I totally slept on that. He totally did. Use pepper spray, motherfuckers, just to stand out in front of a church and then get denounced by the head.
And Trump had no response to that.
None. You pepper sprayed motherfuckers.
Like,
for
the
a
more I
photo
talk
op.
about this, and maybe it's my own fucking slant, but like, the more I talk about it, it's like Biden just fucking dominated him.
I guess when the smoke kind of settles, it's kind of true. Now that we've had a little bit of time to chew on it, and we weren't even planning on, you know, recording
I can't think of one thing that Trump gotcha, except for maybe that one moment where Biden said, like, I don't know if I'm gonna if I'm gonna add Supreme Court justices. That was like maybe the only thing, but even then, Biden was like, well, I don't want to make that decision. I want the people to make that decision. You know?
I don't know if I don't thinking back on that, I don't think Trump got any gotchas.
I
I
can't
don't think
think
there
of
was
any.
any gotcha moments.
Like,
dude, I need a bath after this fucking debate.
Yeah, well, let's fucking end this.
This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm ready to shoot myself in the fucking throat.
For real.
Unless the Proud Boys come and do it for me.
True. Well, I'll be there right there with you, bud.
No, I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your house. I'm going to, I got many white friends. I'm going there. I will be a refugee in your closet.
I'm gonna put a fucking Trump Pence thing outside of my door so people don't fuck with me.
You know what? I think I'm going to put one out too. I think I'm just going to put one out there. I'm going to put Trump Pence on, put a 4 more years on there. I'm going to play the role and then secretly vote the vote.
Nice. There it is. Well, thanks for joining me on the bonus show. It's been fun. I enjoyed live streaming. All the people watching, I appreciate you. If you have any questions,
yes, thank you guys.
No questions. Good. Let's.
Oh, you Trumpers.
Yeah, maybe we'll do more live shows in the future. But so yeah, follow me on twitch.tv/lonercast. Thanks for watching, guys.